Hi, everybody. It's Jen again, your founder from Articles of Antiquity. Once again, we have a new guest on our video show interview time. I have the lovely Bree here. She is a writer and director living in Los Angeles. She just won a awesome writing competition that she'll tell you more about. So without further ado, Bree, why don't you say who you are, what you do, and a little bit about this contest that came across your life and pretty much probably changed it in new and exciting ways.
Definitely. Thank you for having me, Jen. This has been an awesome opportunity for me. I wrote a script in a writers group that I was in and had the opportunity to submit it to create the writers room. While I've been working at FX Networks for about a couple of months now, it has allowed me to stay in the industry and help production for FX. But my passion is writing, so I do that on the side whenever I can, however. And with that writing group, an assignment was to create your own pilot. So I created a comedy, submitted it. We were able to submit our 3 pages of our pilot, our concept. And then from there, when the finalists or semifinalists were chosen, we got an email saying, you have 2 weeks to create a trailer. So I'm like, oh my goodness. One, I'm like super excited. But 2 weeks, how am I going to do this in 2 weeks? Luckily, I have a really great community of people that if I call them, if I email them, if I send them a text message just saying, hey, we're going to shoot this Friday, 2-3 days in advance, maybe even the night before, they're ready to go on the drop of a dime. So, and likewise for me with them too. So having that kind of support allowed me to get a quicker turnaround on my project in the whole week of editing. And so when I sent it in, along with all the other semifinalists as well, we had maybe about a month until they announced the finalists. And so I was announced on the top 6 finalists, super excited about that. And as well, of course, coronavirus had the announcement online, as opposed to they were going to do a panel theater in the theater and all of that, maybe a red carpet, who knows. But we were able to see a really cool panel video. It's also on their website as well. And maybe a couple weeks after that, they announced the top 3 winners, and my name was on the list of them. So I was announced as the winner of the Create the Writers Room, along with 2 others. And it's just a really great experience. We've only just begun in it, but the end goal is to either be staffed on a show, have my show picked up, or what have you, but they're coaching throughout the way. So that's one of the great perks of being able to have this type of network. I'm able to grow and learn and get inside information from mentors and individuals that they kind of help to partner us with to really succeed in these meetings and these generals and networking opportunities. So.
That's awesome. I did watch your 1-minute pitch, and it looks very professional, like really well done. Like you spent a bunch of money on it, and I'm sure you just had a bunch of friends who just happened to have that stuff laying around.
Yes, no, it's that kind of network ability. Like,
yes.
My crew was amazing. Our DP, Dave Eves, he was a reference from a friend of a friend. So he was available, and we've got our lighting crew. I'm always about paying people for their time. So people were definitely compensated and fed, because you can't have a crew hungry.
No, definitely not. No.
But everybody was so forthcoming with how they were so interested just to be a part of something. So when I do get that opportunity, I think of those people first. Like, you helped me when I had little. Like,
yeah.
When I go up, I bring people up with me. So.
No, that's awesome. That's really great to hear. And also, so if you want to tell everyone who is watching, what is your, if you could do your log line, what is the log line to this pilot?
Sure. So, well, Homebound is a half-hour single cam. It's a situational oddball comedy. So it has a loose storyline throughout, but we explore a lot throughout the season of how the tonnage of Broad City meets gritty and like the nature of Shameless. So it's very, very much a eyeball into the struggling young adults that are the lead characters through this 21st century look on LA homelessness.
Okay, great. Yeah, and I think that was another thing that was, I don't know, as someone who did live in LA, like I could totally relate to your subject. I know that I knew those characters. I've seen those characters exist in real life in town, and so it definitely seemed like it was a love letter to, you know, the struggles that a lot of people experience every day in town. I mean, rent is only going to go up, and it's not going to go down. It doesn't matter if there's a pandemic or not, and it doesn't matter if we don't, like, it doesn't matter in July when everyone is normal again, like even if you don't have a job, everyone's going to still expect you to pay rent on the 30th, like
Yes.
um so just the reality of what you're writing about really is such a relatable subject. So you briefly mentioned, God, I'm like, okay. You briefly mentioned, so creating your 1 minute. So what was, because it had a lot, like I really honestly, like I got done with the minute and I was like, that was not a minute long. That was so long. Like I thought I saw so much in so little, and that was so amazing. Like that is so hard to do. Like
Goodness.
people watch YouTube videos in 1 minute and you're like, nothing happened. So like take me through that. Like how did you construct a 1 minute thing to really showcase what your show is about? Like what was
Yeah,
that process?
it was a lot of brainstorming. Um, because of what was previously submitted, which was a bit longer than a minute. If I were to shoot the actual script that I sent 100%, it was like 6 minutes. So it doesn't even matter about how many pages you do, and it really comes down and boils down to the editing process. So knowing kind of what my vision is, and then working with my editor, Nick Lumbrakis, we were able to chop things up, say, hey, we don't need this and we don't need that. Like taking out essential parts can be scary, but you have to kind of weigh out what exactly am I trying to say? What is the message here? As long as I can get that through, that's all that matters. So brainstorming and having a darn good editor.
That's awesome. So another question is, what is, because I know that I went to art school. And so when I went out to LA, I had a lot of contacts. And like you said, you were able to just call people up and say, hey, let's do this. And let's go create something awesome. So first off, I guess let's start at the beginning. Did you go to film school? Are you a native, are you native from LA? Like, are you a transplant? Like so many, like what was kind of your origin story of how you got into the industry? Because like so many, we take those production jobs in the hopes of if we're creative, we're going to be doing something off to the side. And then one day something's going to happen just like your story. So sort of what kind of led you out into LA, or if you're from LA and stuff?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Southern California. So Orange County is my backyard, the suburbs. I definitely didn't really see myself living or actually going to school outside of Orange County, but I also didn't know what exactly I wanted to do as a job. To be honest, I never had a supporting voice that said, film, television, that's tangible. Go for it. You could do it. Like, it was always a skeptical, like, sounds good. We know you write, but can you make money off of that? And that was a very big question all throughout my childhood. But coming out of college, just getting a liberal studies degree, just trying to get something under my belt so I can say I did school. I went and I said, if I'm going to ever make it, one, I need to go out there and do something, because that, I mean, if you don't ever actually go out and meet people and understand what the business is, how can you move forward in it? I joined a grip company and I started gripping and working with the lighting and the grip guys. Like, and literally it was just all guys and me. I
So
PA.
quick thing though, because there are some people listening who I'm making a crazy face because you joined a grip company, and I'm like, this is the script supervisor, like post editor you're talking to. So you saying like, on set, I'm the person literally running things or writing things down. I'm not your grip person. So could you maybe explain for everyone what the heck is a grip and why are they so badass?
Oh yeah. So a lot of the grip industry is populated or male populated, and that's, I think, mainly because there's just so much physical work that goes into it. You are, one, having to know the mathematical, like, just figures of lights and watts, and understanding how not to blow the set up with all the energy that you're using, how many generators you need. But then you're also carrying these huge, like, ton lights. It could range, they could be on, you know, electronical, like, huge machines, to like a little small light. You just never know what you need. And I started off, I just applied to a company that was looking for people to just come up on, oh no, I applied on Facebook. Actually, Facebook is like a great way to meet a whole bunch of people.
True.
And I interned as a PA. When I was interning as a PA, I clicked with these awesome dudes with their truck. They were just there learning. I was like, what is this? What is this? What is this? What does that mean? And they're like, this is a stinger. This is, you know, these are sandbags. I'm like, what do you do with them? And I just was asking all these questions and writing things down. And they're like, hold on one second. Let me ask the coordinator if you can actually be a grip. I'm like, no, guys, like, I can't. So they actually let me be a PA and a grip every other day. And I was able to kind of work with both sides and get a really great experience. That was 3 months. And then they were like, we want you to join our company. Like, you actually showed, you know what you're talking about. Like, we want to get you on and paid. Because it was an unpaid internship for 3 months that I was doing. And it was fun. It had its moments, but I'm like, being out of college and not having any money, like, was excruciating. I saved up enough to live, but I can't. I just, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But as I'm kind of, I guess, mentored underneath, or was a mentee underneath them, they showed me the ropes for everything. I was hopping on all these different projects, a lot of horror films, some really cool, crazy, fun experiences for these feature-length films, some television, and they even let me have a project of my own. And so whenever a client came in and they just asked, like, hey, are you interested in this? Like, do you want to take it on? And I was able to have my own truck and go and light the project with my own team underneath me. It was awesome. It was so cool. It was so cool. But I knew that's not what I wanted to do. I knew, I was like, I have to be I love working with my hands. So I think that's why I'm so excited. I love the thought of show running, the thought of having your hands in all different aspects of a show. I can get down and dirty with things, and then I can start to make a schedule, and I can write the scripts. Like, I can do basically anything on the plane of what happens behind the scenes. So I think that's where my motive was. I'm like, I need to learn everything. So from there, I needed insurance, because insurance was not a thing unless you join the union. I'm like, if I join the union, that means I'm stuck for a very long time. So A lot of my peers, they joined the union, whereas I had to say my goodbyes, and I went over and I actually joined in an agency. And I was an assistant to 2 agents, VFX agent and a television below the line agent. So we were working with producers and editors, directors, what have you, at Innovative Artists. And that was a whole year of learning a different side of the industry, just so much with this ecosystem of filmmaking. It's a lot of things, but one thing I know for sure with that is you have people that are vouching for you. There's a lot of individuals that can be liaisons for you, and it's a beautiful, beautiful connection and a wonderful opportunity to like just be able to get out there and have someone have your back. So I really enjoyed seeing that side, and I said, I like representation. Let me see what I can do and try to be, I don't know, maybe an agent, maybe a manager, and work on my own stuff, a producer as well. So I did that. I was a junior manager for about 9 months, and I had my own client roster and everything while I was working on my own projects. And they also had me on as associate producer as well, for Volition Entertainment. And they moved to Atlanta, and I'm like, I love California, I gotta stay. So I can't. I ended up staying here and again picking up a junior agent role at Pantheon Talent Agency. And that's when I knew I started to send my scripts around, and people were loving like my samples I had. And I'm like, I think I know what I want to do. I'm pretty sure it's writing for television. I need to dive further into that. I need to get into television. So I ended up leaving the company on amazing terms. Everybody is awesome at Pantheon, and I was able to maneuver into Disney television. And now I'm at Disney, like everything got gobbled up. So I started off being an office PA at the single parents television, ABC. Their show went on this past year, and I was with them. And then after my session was over, I went over into FX. So that's where I'm at now, and still in the Disney family. So it's good. And I continue throughout this whole year to make sure I'm in the industry, make sure I'm in the rooms or in conversation, being able to utilize all the skill sets that I've had working with crew, working with what have you, anybody and everybody throughout, gaining these friendships, these lifelong like relationships, as I take classes and as I bolster my writing. I was in maybe 3 or 4 classes simultaneously for the last year or so, and I just picked up another 3 classes, and I'm a part of maybe like 5 writing groups. And it's great. It's amazing. I hope that sooner rather than later, that part of my life that's kind of in the shadows right now, late nights, early mornings, weekends, I hope that'll be my 9 to 5 or my 9 to 9, because TV is crazy.
Yes, TV is definitely crazy. That's awesome. I'm so glad you're doing so well out in LA, and what a brave move to say goodbye to companies who left town and you stayed and you survived and flourished. Like it says a lot about your character. Like I know that with my industry experience, I always tell myself, well, if I ever want to go back to LA, I can get a job in 5 minutes. But like you don't go to LA thinking, oh, I can just go do something and I'll get there. Like you're kind of a really great story though, because you came out there, you went to you're from California, you had just a liberal arts background, you didn't have the film school background, and it just shows. It doesn't matter what you did for college. If you want to pursue film, you want to be in the industry, there's a place for you. You just got to meander around. Everyone's story is crazy and different and weird, and like I've definitely worked at some really weird and crazy companies where you're like, that's even a place? I thought it was a laundromat. And I worked at a place that had laundry in the name. Love you guys if you're watching, but like, you never know. And so that's really cool that you did talent industry stuff. I did a lot of in the post-production side. I worked a lot in finding talent actually for like advertising things or film trailers, or I was gathering talent for visual effects movies or stuff like that. So I'm with you. Finding talent is a lot of fun, and working with them and working with incredible people. But ultimately, I mean, I moved on to other things just like you did, but, getting to talk to people like you is kind of a part of what the magazine believes in. It loves believing in like young artists. And, I'm not like collecting you, but I have these catalogs of these different people in their lives and stuff that like, when in 10 years you can look back and be like, I did that one thing with that one place, and look how crazy and different in 10 years we'll talk again, and you'll have like another little like interview of like all the things that you've done in the next 10 years with your writing. It's going to be so cool to see. But anyway, I do you have any final thoughts? I think I've learned so much about you and your past. Like, do you have any other things that you would like to tell anybody about your stuff?
Sure. Well, my project named Homebound is one that I was very much inspired by a friend of mine. We worked on the same sets. We were always going to a lot of, I don't know, networking events, things that you would just feel as if, she had everything together. She very much was on her, P's and Q's, but she told me in confidence that she was homeless, and I had no clue. And so the story was kind of inspired, and just it grew out of the fact that homeless people have lives. Homeless people are not just them versus us, and this blurred like reality that they're not human beings, or that or your neighbor couldn't be homeless, or that your family members are not homeless. Like, I do have a couple of family members that are homeless as well. And that world, it in itself, it's just, everybody has personality. And that's where I'm trying to find the silver lining. This script, this series finds a silver lining between what we call home and who we are, and it gives you laughs, it gives you cries, it gives you very raunchy jokes, like things that are going to make people laugh and open up conversations for things, because that's what life is about, talking about the tough subjects, but also being able to have a sense of humor and lightness about certain topics and things like that. So that's what I'm very excited about, developing and building it out. I've already, built out the whole first season of it, and I can't wait to see where it goes. So.
That's really cool that you bring that up, because I've actually recently have come across people who are, it's weird where I'm in the South. I'm actually 2 hours from Atlanta. So, but people I've met who choose to be homeless. Like, they choose to live in their car, not out of necessity, but because they know it's cheaper, or that they don't really need it. And they have people who, support them and stuff. And so it brings up a lot of interesting things that, people might be homeless, but you're right that they're still people, you could never know. And they always say it could be any one of your, people in your network, and they would never skip a beat. And I'm really excited that you're going to bring light to this issue. I think maybe in a final question, do you have any advice on how to prepare for a pitch? How do you do that? What do you do?
Sure, I'm in the midst of that at the moment.
Yeah, what are you doing?
And the biggest thing I would say is know your story in and out. If there is anything, more nerve-wracking is when you go in front of people and you blank out, or you don't know exactly where your story is going to go. So if you go maybe a whole week, maybe once a day, and build out what your obviously your pilot should be written and everything. Like, for the most part, some people don't, but it'd be great to know what's happening in season 2, 3, 4, 5 even, and just know what the longevity is of the story, because people love to hear that, hey, I've got stories upon stories, meaning checks upon checks you can have as well. People like hearing, okay, you're gonna make sure we have a job as well. Yes, I will. And just being confident. So that's probably the main 2 things, because once you know your story in and out, you're gonna be in front of people and just let them absorb your energy and bring that kind of energy, and they'll just gravitate towards that. So those are probably the top two tips that I have for general meetings or pitches as well.
That's awesome advice. Well, thank you so much for coming on the Articles of Antiquity today. It was so great to talk to you, Bree. And thank you so much, and look forward to seeing what you come up with in the future. And please, as you're listening after this video, watch her 1-minute video, see what she's all about, and her blood, sweat, and tears went into. So hopefully you'll see Homebound in a TV screen near you. So it'd be great.
Thank you, Jen. I appreciate having you, and everyone out there. If you're a part of this television world, keep at it. Keep at it.